What if Ferdinand Magellan had never set foot in the Philippines? Would our islands have remained free from Spanish rule? Or would another power have simply arrived first? Today, we're diving into an incredible alternate history, a what-if scenario that could have completely changed the fate of the entire archipelago. Let's set the scene. The year is 1521. Ferdinand Magellan, sailing under the Spanish flag, arrives in the Philippines. This moment marks the first European contact and tragically sets in motion over 300 years of Spanish colonization. It's a date etched into our history books, a turning point that shaped our culture, religion, and identity. But here's the thing. History is never inevitable. What if Magellan's voyage had failed? What if he never sailed at all? Historians have debated this for years. Would our local kingdoms have unified and stood strong? Would another European power like Portugal or the Netherlands have dominated our islands instead? Or would our connections with China and other Asian neighbors have blossomed, creating a completely different destiny? To understand what might have been, we first need to look at what was. Before Magellan's arrival, the Philippines was not a single, unified country. It was a vibrant, complex network of independent barangays. Each had its own ruler, its own unique culture, and its own sophisticated systems of trade. The islands were far from isolated. Kingdoms in the Visayas and Mindanao, for example, had strong, long-standing connections with powerful neighbors like China, Brunei, and the great trading states of Southeast Asia. Local leaders, our Datuses and sultans, often competed with one another, sometimes leading to conflict, but they also formed strategic alliances for trade and mutual defense. It was a delicate, dynamic balance of power. Magellan's arrival shattered this balance. His presence, and the Spanish forces that followed, tipped the scales decisively toward European colonization, fundamentally altering the course of our history. So, let's explore our first alternate timeline. What if Magellan never came? Some historians argue that without this external disruption, our local kingdoms could have continued their natural evolution. Powerful states like the Rojanate of Cebu, the Kingdom of Tondo, or the Sultanate of Maguindanao might have grown even stronger. It's possible they could have formed a confederation, a union of states similar to what was seen in other parts of the world. Imagine a unified archipelago, led by our own rulers, capable of collectively resisting foreign intrusion. A Philippines united on its own terms could have negotiated trade deals as an equal partner, not as a conquered territory. We might have maintained our sovereignty for centuries, developing our own political systems without the imposition of a foreign monarchy. This path could have led to a nation built on indigenous foundations, a stark contrast to the colonial state that emerged. But let's be realistic. Spain wasn't the only ambitious empire on the world stage. The age of exploration was in full swing, and the spice-rich islands of Southeast Asia were the ultimate prize. If not Spain, then who? Portugal was Spain's biggest rival. They were already established in Malacca and the Spice Islands, just a stone's throw away. It's highly probable that Portuguese ships would have eventually reached our shores. A Portuguese colonization would have meant a different language, different cultural influences, and perhaps a different brand of Catholicism. Then there were the Dutch. By the 17th century, the Dutch East India Company was a formidable naval and economic power, aggressively pushing the Portuguese out of the region. A Dutch-controlled Philippines would have been focused almost purely on trade and profit, likely with less emphasis on religious conversion compared to the Spanish, and we can't forget the British, who would later build a massive global empire. Any of these powers could have filled the vacuum left by Spain. Our languages, our systems of government, and even our family names might be completely different today. The question isn't just whether we would have been colonized, but by whom, and what kind of colony we would have become. Now, let's consider another fascinating possibility. What if European influence had been minimal, and our ties with our Asian neighbors had deepened instead? Before 1521, we were already a key part of a thriving Asian trade network. Our ancestors were skilled seafarers and traders, exchanging goods with China, Japan, Siam, Brunei, and the Sultanate of Malacca. Without the Spanish redirecting our economy toward Mexico and Europe through the galleon trade, this inter-Asian commerce could have exploded. Imagine the Philippines as the central hub of this network, a maritime power in its own right, our legendary boat building and navigation skills, which so impressed the early Europeans, could have become a major strategic and economic advantage. Our port cities might have rivaled the great trading centers of the age, and our wealth would have been built on relationships with our neighbors, not a distant colonial master. This timeline suggests a Philippines that is more economically, culturally, and politically integrated with Asia, a destiny that in some ways we are only beginning to reclaim today. Let's break down the most significant changes we might have seen. First, and most obviously, number 3, 100th year Spanish rule. This is a game changer. Our indigenous cultures, languages, and political systems would have remained dominant, evolving organically without being suppressed or replaced. The vibrant diversity of our pre-colonial societies might have been preserved. Second, religion. Islam, already well established in Mindanao, and spreading north, could have become the dominant faith in much of the archipelago. Christianity might have arrived much later, perhaps introduced peacefully through trade rather than by conquest, or it might have remained a minority religion. Our spiritual landscape would be unrecognizable. And third, our modern identity. The very borders of our nation, our trade networks, and our sense of who we are as a people might be drastically different. The concept of Filipino itself was largely born out of the shared experience of Spanish colonization. Without it, we might identify more with our specific ethnic or regional groups, Suscalogus, Visayans, or Moras first, and a unified nation second. Our economy would likely be more oriented toward Asia than the West. This entire thought experiment reveals just how fragile history is. One voyage, one battle, one single decision can truly change the trajectory of entire nations for centuries to come. But it also does something else. It shines a powerful light on the resilience, ingenuity, and sophistication of our ancestors. They weren't just waiting to be discovered. They were building complex societies, navigating the world's oceans, and engaging in international politics long before colonial powers arrived on the scene. Their legacy is not just one of resistance, but one of a vibrant civilization with its own unrealized destiny. So now, I turn the question over to you. What do you think would have happened if Magellan never came? Would the Philippines have remained free, evolving into a powerful, independent nation? Or would another empire have simply taken Spain's place? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to read your theories and alternate histories. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through a Philippine what if. If you enjoyed this exploration of our past, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe for more untold histories and fascinating alternate scenarios. See you in the next video.